Vlad Ethereum Classic.
Welcome back, gentlemen, to Capital Gentlemen. It's your host, Vlad Ethereum. I hope the camera audio, or no, I hope the recording audio is actually a better, slight upgrade, but do plan on getting a microphone. I did upgrade the computer for my trading purposes, and just security purposes as we go into the new bull market. Um, I'm expecting it to be harder to get quality computers, quality GPUs, quality processing because as people start to grab basically everything that has a whole Nvidia chip and everything related to these brand name companies, whether they can actually be used for crypto purposes, just off hype. I'm expecting prices to rise. I mean, this costs a little bit more than it really should have because I bought the same computer for cheaper. Doesn't even mean I got scammed. I don't know why it was as cheap as it was the first time, but it is what it is. Maybe I just got a little bit more something that I didn't know. Who knows? But yeah, this is Capital Gentlemen. We're here to talk about wealth, prosperity, and fitness. All three, I think, key pillars of any person's life that in order to find fulfillment and walk through life with a positive mindset, they need to be paying attention and making progress in all these areas. So my name is Vlad. Whether you refer to me as Vlad Ethereum, Vlad Solana, like it doesn't really matter too much. It's just it's really just Vlad. It's just the usernames don't even matter that much, to be honest, because realistically, like I'm not loyal to any one chain. Like I'm loyal, but like I'm not basing my brand off of a blockchain. I'm basing my brand off of what I'm trying to accomplish in business. But I mess with Ethereum and Solana. I guess you could say one or the other. Like it doesn't really matter. Um, I don't know. I might change because I like Solana. It's just on here. I didn't want to redo a lot of the stuff that I already made. So I don't really want to change my name back, but I might have to. I don't really know. I don't really care that much. But moving on. So what we're gonna get into, we're just gonna get into a couple of charts. Um, so we're going to talk about helium and the Bitcoin dominance. So let's hop into trading view right now. So as we can see on the Bitcoin dominance, um, let's just start off on the monthly time frame for the Bitcoin dominance, and I'm going to take off all these indicators and etc. So cycle to cycle, as we know, Bitcoin dominance Um, and the bear market is high. It's Bitcoin season. People have sold off alts, and everything selling off in Bitcoin is the least risky asset in the bear market. Bitcoin dominance increases. Bitcoin dominance starts going sideways because the halving has caused a top. Usually Bitcoin dominance. I mean, as we've seen in the past, it has tops out. It has every time basically, unless there's something I don't know about, has topped out by the halving. And when Bitcoin makes a new all-time high, as soon as that happens, we usually see a sharp decrease in Bitcoin dominance into altcoin season once dominance flips below 50% for Bitcoin. So that's what we're tracking here. And it's going to be a real easy to understand video. So we've only got about 96 days or so before the halving. So we're not looking for too much momentum to really come in right now. We have all the sell the news events that has happened. Bitcoin ETF wasn't as bad of a sell the news, but I think a little bit of that got priced in. But assuming we just stay essentially going sideways and not any significant drawdown or increase in Bitcoin price, I would expect it to be a slow top out. Maybe we go a little bit higher, but right now the high is in, and until the high is broken, the high is in. So if we do break that high, then okay, I guess these targets are in play for 61. Between the Fibonacci of 61.8 to 38.2. I mean, we're already there at support, but realistically, the main thing that I'm looking for to see for Bitcoin dominance is on the 2 week time frame. I want to see this, reverse back down. It might take a little bit longer than expected because it's actually just recently flipped green lab towards the end of last year. Um, but if you check some other moving averages, like the key moving average to be below would be a 2 week bull market support band, as that would definitely indicate like a strong shift of momentum, um, either had already happened or incoming continuation, something like that, transition, reversal signal, whatever the situation could be. We're not even there yet. It's just so many scenarios that you might have to identify how the reversal is going to come into effect in altcoin season. But let's just go into the weekly time frame. I'm really looking for something like this to play out. Like I said, sideways, maybe go up a bit more, but rounding top, and then Bitcoin all time high. Doesn't have to necessarily be rounding top, but something like this is just ultimately is what's going to happen on the longer term, and maybe we actually do break these because Bitcoin dominance does decrease every cycle, but it does take up more money. Let's just put on the weekly bull market support band, and then we'll put on the weekly Gaussian channel, and then we'll take this off. We'll take that off. Put on the 50 week. It's like, yeah, we got a lot of support here. Um, we got a lot of support, so that's why I'm kind of like, all right, we're not gonna, shift the trend yet. Like, there's nothing to show a key reversal. But it's just like at least we know bare minimum by the having Bitcoin dominance is going to have topped out. My theory was that Bitcoin dominance had already topped out at 55%, because if you use it's a data tool that you probably can't find super easy, but I had access to it, is basically you just figure out Bitcoin dominance excluding stable coins, and it's actually more, it was about 5% extra dominant. So based off that indicator, it was at 60% when TradingView was saying 55%. And that was my case. I'm like, if the claim is we need to hit 60% dominance, then I'm like, all right, so is this including stables or excluding stables? If you're gonna exclude stables, then we already hit that target, and realistically you can really shift your portfolio sooner than the latter option. We did have a slight fake out on the bull market support band on the weekly. I thought we were about, if we got like an actual continuation close and we were gonna run into this, the Gaussian channel, I was gonna be like, all right, I guess it's game time. But unfortunately, it only really dropped significantly when Bitcoin makes a new all time high, which is probably gonna be Q3, Q4 this year. So about 6.5 more months probably, maybe less, maybe a little bit more, probably by October, I'm guessing. I got time, like I'm not in a rush. Like I made a lot off of the bonk call that we had. We'll just view that real quick. Off our bonk call, we called bonk. Literally first video on it was down here. That was like the exact area, was down here. First video, first entry. My bias was a little bit lower, but ultimately getting in on this tremendous move, and a good Burj Khalifa. I like these, especially when you can get out at the top. Don't get me wrong, you don't want to be buying the top of these, but you cannot tell me you didn't have ample time to get out. I mean, obviously, if you got out too soon, you got clapped, but get even like don't get me wrong, you can never time the top. Like people were trying to price in the Coinbase listing over here, it went back down. I took some off the table, it ran back up, it ran back down. I said, fuck that, I'm back in. And then it ran up, and I was like, all right, I'm out, no way. And then it waked up super high again. And I was like, fuck it, man. But regardless, like, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying in general, we had a good call there, and I've been trying to be like, all right, what's happening in the cycle? What stage are we at? What can I expect to happen going forward? We have other data coming in with the Fed, with their pause, no raises, looking at cuts at some point. Um, you know, People don't really know how many, but at some point, some cuts are going to be coming in, so that's going to be bullish for the market. If we zoom out and we check my note, we zoom out. So we're looking for, again, break of weekly moving averages, break of Gaussian channel, transition in altcoin season when Bitcoin breaks all time high at 70,000 USD, key reversal point. And I think beyond that, zooming in, there wasn't even too much extra data. There was a little bit because of daily time frame. Um, so we have key support at the 48.12 level, coming in at 48.2, 48 point. Where was that at? 48.12. Did I misread that? Oh, I think I meant to say 48.9. Yeah, 48.9. Yeah, my bad. My bad. 48.9 coming in at this level. That's key support. So breaking that, because this was once resistance and then it got flipped into support. So breaking that to the downside, flipping that as resistance, that would be bearish. Using these daily moving averages on the 200-day as support. And until we break these highs, I'm not gonna drop a Fibonacci extension, but I would probably get ready to do that. Um, Bull market support band also as support. We had that slight fake out. That's what I was talking about. But basically, that's it for Bitcoin dominance. So as liquidity gets moved around, we'll probably bring up total one, total two, all the total charts at some point. But I don't, I'm not finding that to be relevant right now. So we're going to talk about HNT. Let's zoom out to the monthly time frame. Let's bring this back though because I have to put this. I gotta change this. Yeah. I'm just gonna put that there. So HNT target 2025 anywhere from between 200 to 300. So up here, 300 probably is as most, and then 200 is like a reasonable target. But I think 300 at the most. But that's still a pretty good return from $7. So I'm like, all right. I'm zooming into the price action. We're gonna go into the TA on the monthly, the weekly, the 5 day, and the 3 day. So we're on the monthly. So we're not anywhere close. If you draw a Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low of the last bear market, because we're now in a bull market, 23.6 Fibonacci, we haven't even tested that. So that's basically all that's going on here. It's not a whole lot. You could throw in monthly moving averages if you want. I didn't in this video, but I'll bring it up in the future because it's only so often, these moving averages move so slow. Like, yeah, you got to catch the key things when they reverse, but you really do got a lot of time to analyze. So we're gonna go to 2 week. So 2 week Gaussian channel, midline as resistance. So we're gonna put on 2 week. We're gonna change the setting back to 2 weeks. Um, on the bull market support band, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna zoom in, and we're gonna see here that it's a key scenario that key strategy. I don't know, scenario, whatever you want to say. I don't know. It's just something I've been seeing get repeated a lot with a lot of these tokens, like with HNT, Solana, um, I think a couple of other altcoins that I've seen this happen to, and or ratios like dominance and shit, or et cetera, right? Situation where you have the Fibonacci retracement and you're stuck in the Gaussian channel without testing the Fibonacci first Fibonacci retracement level. So you got all this resistance to get through, but then once you get above it, it's a gap. So we have this range coming in between 12.4 and 6.3 resistance zone. That's coming in here on top of this midline on the 2-week Gaussian channel. On top of after breaking out and then, having a close above this 2-week Gaussian channel, eventually having a face of 23.6 Fibonacci, and then no resistance until about $19. About. So, we've got a gap here, but we've got one, two, three, like we've got like five things to worry about. And you got to be able to read that, because you can't necessarily just look at this and be like, see that many things is happening. It literally just looks like a fucking box in a line, and just some fucking candles. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's just what's happening there. Switch this back to the weekly, 1 week. So same thing happening. Zoom out. Zoom out. I don't know if I wrote something. Oh yeah, let me do this. Yep. A weekly. So Gaussian channel. Um so we have the Gaussian channel with the red still active, no green. That's annoying. So what I was saying, Gaussian channel green flip, moving averages. We're trending above 200-day EMA and SMA, trending above that. Take that off. Resistance range coming in, with the 23.6 fib, the box range from 12.43 to 6.26. And then after that, again, a gap until about 19 US dollars. But this is just a weekly time frame, and we're also above these. Like, as long as the trend is still up, you know, on the weekly, it doesn't really matter too much what the short term is. I mean, you see kind of how, what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in and see how is this going to break out specifically. But we have our momentum set. Like, even if we, look at our MACD, and it's bullish weekly, week 2 week weekly, 5 day bullish. The MACD in a smaller time frame doesn't matter as much, but we're gonna zoom in on the daily. Not too much good really going on the 5 day. All that we really notice here is that um some resistance coming in at a shorter term Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low, coming in at 61.8. But if we look at and pay attention, we can kind of speculate on a potential support line developing. And if we just look into the 3 day, and we'll see exactly those touch points in a pattern playing out, as we check, those support points, 1, 2, 3 touch points, valid trend line, and resistance tested 3 times, valid resistance. Wide, not specific points, but wide resistance range between 9.50 and $8.15. So seeing it close above the high would really confirm a breakout. And retest of that range high would confirm definitely, that as support and continuation. But printing up a bullish pattern, um ascending triangle, with a target of $15 with 83% gain in play, and decision point within, let's say, 30 days. 30 days, because this is the 3 day time frame. Um, so yeah, it's gonna take some time to play out, and even if this does break out to the upside, this could easily take as long as it needs to until Bitcoin takes out, the all time high at, the $70,000 level, and then we shift into altcoin season. But that's kind of how this would play out, because if we break $14, we zoom back out, then we'd probably really get some momentum on, all these levels that we mentioned previously. And just to wrap it up, we have a similar scenario on the weekly time frame for H&T. 2 week time frame, Gaussian channel resistance, entering Gaussian channel, and then incorporating all those structures of indicators and drawings to indicate to us the resistance areas that may come into play. So this box one, Fibonacci resistance 23.62, middle line 3, 4. I think that's about it in my opinion on a 2 week. Maybe draw draw this up. I mean, we have that as support, so that's good. Right, on the 2 week with the bull market support band, and on the 1 week. So we're gonna go into the 1 week. It's really the same thing. If we zoom in, it's the same thing, but we can really tell where what is happening is just kind of like a tight pocket. You can see volume is decreasing, not necessarily as important on the Bitcoin pair, but still volume decreasing, kind of, just turning into a pocket. And I think a move is going to happen most likely to the upside, just because we're already above the Gaussian channel. Um, and we haven't tested a lot of these, and this can really just break. As soon as this highest took, it's going to, see continuation, in my opinion. I don't think anything, significant happening. I mean, a lot of these patterns on their Bitcoin pairs, they print up similar, situations. This is not as tested from what I can see. Maybe it's like it's no, it is. Sure, you can say it's tested 3 times. I don't see how you. Yeah, so similar situation, you would have that target. I'm not going to draw that up because the Bitcoin pair doesn't really matter. What really matters more is the downtrend on this. Like the Bitcoin pair matters. You want to see that going up. You want to see that definitely going up at all times in the bull market when it's altcoin season. But it's an easier metric to track for this, I should say, when you have the Bitcoin pair divided by one, so you know the exact amount of tokens you need to equal one Bitcoin. So you can basically plan ahead of time. Example, I've already defined out my targets where I'm going to be DCAing out. Like when this drops to 1,000, I'm going to convert some to either USD or Bitcoin, because ultimately, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where your USD pair is if it's topping out against Bitcoin. If it tops out against Bitcoin before it gets to your USD target, it means the top is in my opinion. Because there's no point in having a higher USD value later and being able to get less Bitcoin. That doesn't make any sense, because you're what you're trying to do essentially is you're gonna want to rotate out. You don't want to be having that same, you know, that it's not gonna stay the same price as it is exactly in that moment. So you're gonna want to be rotating at least short term to something that is going to be a little bit more stable, maybe stable coins or Bitcoin. But let's say you do want one Bitcoin. If you do want to flip into some Bitcoin, well, you want to know the exact number that you need to get exact example half a Bitcoin or full. You know what I'm saying? DPIN is basically going to be the first crypto niche that essentially breaks out into the real world with physical use cases, um, in the technological realm. And the reason why I'm saying first ecosystem player is because the entire point of DPIN is to be a physical infrastructure network, but decentralized. and you have a purpose behind that technology to compute and direct that power together, or use the access of of directed hosting services to produce a product or technological use case, like example storage, Wi-Fi, data hotspots, Uber, rendering 3D graphics. And the reason that, just to direct it to render, the reason I'm bullish on dependent render as my pick and flavor of the bull market is there's no way this breakout niche, if anything goes wrong with the top two players in the breakout niche, you can entirely assume that the niche is fucked. So I'm betting on the two biggest players, H&T and Render. Simple. Cause it's like you come in with enough capital. I don't have to trade up anymore. I don't have to dabble in shit coins. Like I can just sit down, cool out, take profit next year. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not that these are like scams or anything. Like I feel pretty safe. I don't, besides the volatility, to me it's low risk. It depends on how you want to view technology investments, and in the economic state of the world right now. Like, yeah, shit can go wrong. Like we've seen Fetch AI, they're fucking bankrupt now. Apparently you can still trade the token. I guess that makes sense because it's not like the token's just going to go to zero. It's that the company's actually fucking bankrupt. So I guess, but Fetch AI, you're seeing all the, like certain situations where where they're not actually producing a product, where they're not actually having services, where they're not actually doing what they need to do to keep the project alive. And that's just not the case with Render. We've seen Render in the Apple App Store. I say it's holding up pretty well. I mean, I don't think it's going to head higher before Bitcoin does. But I think, this is a game of patience. I think at some point, bare minimum, we're gonna see this token be $50. So like, I mean, I'm completely comfortable getting just a 10x in the next 2 years. Like, I really could do that and still be fine. I don't want to do that. I want more something along the realms of a 20x. But I think this can 20x for sure. Yeah, it's 34 billion. We take 20 times, I mean, I think this range is basically the only price you're gonna be able to get a 20x at. Um, yeah, $95, 1,000 render at $95. No, yeah, 1,000 render at $95. That's 95k, and then 10k render at $95. That's 950k. So it's like when you really put that into perspective, a $47,000 investment right now to get 10k render could be fucking $1 million. Who knows? But that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been your host Vlad Ethereum. Whether like it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter too much. All right, but I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching.